Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy, the chicken here, and in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how I make my thumbnails for my main channel, The Chicken. I have well above 2,000 subscribers, and I know none of you asked for it, but I just wanted to show you how I make a thumbnail. Today, we're making a thumbnail for my next video, which is going to be about the plans for the spring garden. So, let's get into it. Alright, so you're going to go to Photopea.com. As you can see, it's right up here in the URL. It's right there. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to help you create your thumbnails. So when you're there, you might already have a little bit of experience with this. I'm going to mute the mic really quickly so you might hear a noise. There we go. So an easy way to create a new project is create Alt-Control-N. If you forget, just write that down somewhere. And you want to select YouTube thumbnail, transparent. Don't worry about any of this stuff. Just make sure it's 1280 by 720. That's 720p if you want to get a little bit more specific. And it's what most thumbnails will be. You could obviously choose from a template here, but we're going to create our own original one. Transparent one works really best, especially if you're working with vectors and graphics. So we're going to go to our place where we get our stock images. I already got our stock images from Pixabay. You could use any other stock images software, as long as you know that they're free to use. We're going to create two separate thumbnails today. Now, we're going to drag this one, and we're going to resize it until we have a good image. And now, what we're going to do is we're going to look for the dominant color in here, which appears to be green and purple. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google. Oh, shut up. We're going to go to Google and look at the opposite color of purple first, which appears to be green-yellow, which is what we're going to first start off with. We're going to use the font Lemon Milk. You can obviously install different fonts, but we're going to use Lemon Milk for this one. It's really clean, very simple, very visually appealing, and it helps a lot. So we're going to start off with typing the word garden, and I want to use something that's a little bit more bold. Green yellow, that's about green yellow, I'd say. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a warp to it. So we're going to add arc. We're going to, not 21, we're going to go 12%. It looks very clean. It's not terribly warped. It just looks very clean. We're going to position it in a location that makes sense. And then we're going to do the opposite color of green, which I believe is red, which I was correct. And we're going to write plans right below it, and we're going to shift this color to red, like so. Oh, come on. Work, buddy. I need you to work. We're going to add a warp to it. We're going to do warp lower. We're going to add 12%, so that way it looks very smooth. Now, follow along with me here. You want to make sure it's positioned where you can see these red lines right there. You see that? Sort of there for a second. Now you're going to click Control or Command, whatever, and you want to click the text below it. You want to right-click your mouse or your keyboard or whatever, and you want to click Convert to Smart Object. Now you're going to right-click again, and you're going to go with Blending Options, and I want you to choose the stroke that makes the most sense. So, first off, we're going to start off with a 15 pixel black stroke. Then we're going to add the plus right there. We're going to add a 25 pixel white stroke. And now for the drop shadow, we're going to make sure it looks, we're going to use 120 degrees. I want to make sure the spread and size is turned down. The size will just make it like really like grainy. The spread won't really do anything. But obviously if you add noise, it'll make it a lot more grainier. So if you want to expand out really far, which I wouldn't recommend doing that, but if you don't want it to appear at all, there it is. But why would you click that? So I'd recommend, if you're looking for it to be just a little bit there, but not terribly there, I'd recommend around 33 pixels. The next thing, now this is the most basic one you can create. Obviously, there can be more that you could add to it. Now you're going to click Export As, PNG, and as you can see, the file size is around 2.1 megabytes. So the maximum you could do is 1.99 megabytes. You're going to type 99% and it'll automatically drop it to a much smoother quality. It doesn't really look that much different. Now we're going to save this, I don't know, as like a thumbnail example. Now let's move on to the next thumbnail. Alright, so we just made like the most basic of basic examples of a thumbnail that I'd use. Now if we want to go a little bit more in depth, here's the next part of the video. We're going to go click Control Alt N again. Alt Control N. We're going to save the same settings, and now we're going to go into here. Now we're going to go and grab this image I dragged in here. It's a little bit more visually appealing. It has a little bit more of a tropical color, if you will. Now we're going to work a little bit more with the warping with this one. We're going to type the word garden. Obviously we're going to use a similar thing, except we're going to use a different warp this time. And this one we're going to use, instead, we're going to use the opposite color of pink, which I believe is also, which is green. So we're going to use pink for garden, because we have some pink in here. I don't want to move that. And then we're going to type the word plans, and we're going to put that in green. I like using opposite colors. It really makes it look a lot better. Now we're going to move the plans away for a minute. We're going to position this right here. I've not really done a thumbnail like this yet, but we're going to do sort of a rise. I'm going to set this to -12 degrees, so it'll sort of rise down with the image there. And we're going to sort of set the same thing to where this is plans, so that way it looks a lot smoother. This is going to be my second option. It's going to be a little, less of the visual appearance and more of the quality. So now we have that, and we're going to position it obviously around there, and then we're going to convert to smart object. And actually, if you do the stroke here, you do that, what you can do, see, it's right there, you can actually click define new and it'll automatically save the property. It's really useful. It saves a lot of time. Now, I don't remember exactly where I got this from, but if you load .asl and you go, I'm going to scroll down until I find the word styles, which will be just a minute. It's going to probably take a little while. And once I find it, I will load it in here, and that will make it, that'll actually add sort of a, which if you go to here, now it'll be there, and now we could go to here. Actually, no, we have to redo all this whole thing, and then obviously it's really easy. Not 26, 25, even though it's just a pixel difference, doesn't really matter. You click define new, and there you go, you got a brand new thing. Obviously it's not really as clean. This one's not going to be so focused on the visual factor, but rather the design factor. Now, if you want to work with the color here, I'm going to show you. You need to go to adjustments. You want to choose the brightness and contrast. You might want to lift it up or down. Obviously, I'm just going to keep it around there. Contrast, adjust it as needed. Now we're going to go back to the adjustments. We're going to click levels, and not this levels. I'm messing up on the job here. Curves. What this will do is it'll adjust the colors as necessary. So as you can see, you can just sort of mess around with these until you get a color you're really happy with. I'm not going to try to explain this thing at all. It's really complicated. Even I barely understand it, but it helps make helps like sort of balance, if you will, the colors in the image. Makes it look a lot more visually appealing. Make sure it doesn't go so high that it doesn't look realistic. They should add a little bit more to the realism factor, if you will. Now you could obviously change between spline and sketch. I'm just going to leave it as is. And as you can see, another thing we can do is we can go to my thumbnail textures. You could just look up sunlight thing, and what we're going to do here is we're going to add this sunlight right here. We're going to add this little sun ray, and we're going to position it below the plans. That's important, or else it's not going to work. And also, believe it or not, you can actually adjust the color of these if you're not too happy with the outcome using the hue. And there we go, we got a nice thumbnail here. Obviously this one's not that nice, and I think personally the sunlight doesn't look that good, so it's gone. I personally think this is just fine. Obviously you could add some glow around it. If you want, I can make a future video talking about all these little configurations here. Anyways, as I said, you click File, Export As, and make sure you keep the 2 megabyte limit in mind. Experiment with like different things. So this is perfect right here. As you can see, 1.9 megabytes, perfect thing there. So yeah, let's just type some gibberish, and there we go. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. With that being said, I'm hoping to upload here on Wednesday again, because that's the day Thanksgiving break begins for me. Anyways, I'm out. Subscribe.